You're listening to Searching for More, a podcast of the Diocese of Arlington. On this episode, a diocesan priest shares his side hobby with us. By day, Father Hathaway is the pastor of the Basilica of Saint Mary. By night, he hosts a cooking series on YouTube. Father shares his passion for cooking and some of his favorite recipes to make around Christmastime. But beyond just the meal, he talks about the nourishment to the soul that sharing a meal with others can bring.
The meal is more than simply getting nourishment. There's a lot of connecting that happens. You can talk about your highlight, your low light of the day, or sometimes your sideways, which is something good but unexpected that happened. And it's a great way for the family or any group of people to connect over food.
Hear how this multi-talented priest connects food with faith. This episode's host is Billy Atwell, Chief Communications Officer of the Diocese.
Father Hathaway, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Billy, it's a delight to be with you.
So this is a busy time of year, obviously. We're preparing for Christmas in just a few days here. You're the pastor at the Basilica of Saint Mary's in Old Town. I know there's a lot of families in your parish who are getting ready for the big Christmas meal. So I appreciate you taking some time to talk with us. Before we really dig into the main topic we're going to talk about, for the people that maybe aren't as familiar with the Basilica of Saint Mary, talk a little bit about your parish and what's so special about it.
Oh, Billy, as you know, it's the first Catholic church in Virginia and West Virginia, which was one state at the time it was founded in 1795. So it's a great history we're very proud of. The church building we have dates from 1826. So again, I don't know if we have an older building in the diocese. We might. But also the parish has spawned several daughter churches, if you will, over the 225 years that we've been around. We're celebrating our 225th anniversary this year, so very happy about that, and invite people to come by and pray in our church.
Very good. Yeah, it's interesting to walk into a church and see the Umbrellino and the Tintinnabulum. You don't get to see those very often, so it's nice to have one in our very own diocese here. Yes,
it is. Yeah. It's a great gift. It's a sign of our connection with the Holy See and the Universal Catholic Church, and we're proud to be one of just a little over 1,500 churches in the world named a basilica. Ours primarily for our history.
Right.
We're not that large, beautiful, but on the smaller side compared to the basilica across the river,
right?
Which we like to call that other basilica.
Yeah, the other one. Yes.
But we love going there too.
I don't recall its name, but yeah, I'm sure it's
the Immaculate Conception. And we really want to encourage sort of a Ruta Mariana, or a pilgrimage you can make from one basilica to the other, even walking. We've had some young adults and seminarians do that, or driving from here to then to D.C. to that basilica, Immaculate Conception, and then to the cathedral in Baltimore, which is also a basilica.
Oh, very good.
So
that's
very handy.
Well, your parish is known for many things, but you are too. You're a beloved pastor there, and people speak so highly of you. And one of the things that you're known for are these great cooking videos that you've put out over time. And you've got some personal reasons for why you like those so much. But talk a little bit about your upbringing, and were family meals an important part of your upbringing, or is that something you maybe discovered later? How did that work?
Well, I grew up a relatively large family, but for the time probably typical, one of seven. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and we always ate dinner together. When my dad got home from work in California, and then when we moved to Fairfax in 1970, he was assigned to the Pentagon, so he would roll in the door about 6, and we usually eat about 6:30. And then as a pastor, I reflect on that experience and realize how important that is to keep a family connected. Even in the rectory, sometimes people say, did you mention this to Father David or something? And I was like, well, I didn't really see him today, because even though we live together in a house, just like members of a family, sometimes you're going your separate ways, and it's only at dinner. For us, we pray Vespers and then dinner that we come together. And I know how important that is for families to also come together, not only to give nourishment to your body, but Billy, as you know, if you've ever eaten alone, that the meal is more than simply getting nourishment. There's a lot of connecting that happens. You can talk about your highlight, your low light of the day, or sometimes your sideways, which is something good but unexpected that happened. And it's a great way for the family or any group of people to connect over food. So that's part of my interest in the meal is as a pastor. And with the cooking videos, that came about because I did a Christmas video. We're trying to be more modern, I suppose, and having more brief videos that focus people's attention. But I discovered that more people viewed my Christmas video of cooking a part of a meal than watched my Christmas message. So I thought the next year, I said, well, I'm going to sneak the Christmas message into a cooking video.
I feel like humility is baked into your vocation, if I might be.
Yeah, exactly.
Very punny.
Thank you, Billy. Yeah. But so that's how it came. And of course, during the pandemic, we're looking for ways to connect with our people, and these cooking videos were kind of fun. We have a nice apostolate kitchen, so that makes it easy to work in, and we have a great staff that helps me stay connected with the people here.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So how long have you been doing these videos?
Well, it probably goes back about 2 years, maybe before that. Maybe, I think with Alex Solzma on board, we've done more videos.
Yeah. But
I'm trying to think if I did any with John, Alex's predecessor, but I don't recall that. So,
and you've got some great recipes on here. There's an Italian love cake. There's keto enchilada casserole, Mexican brownies, resurrection cookies, and a lot of great things. So today you're going to take us through a few of these recipes here. So what are the three that you're gonna kind of walk us through? And this won't be just for people listening, a literal step by step. You can watch the videos online. I'll give you the link in a minute, but just kind of the overview here. So what are we going to be talking about here?
Well, we always try to connect them with something happening in the church. So at Christmas time, they're more Christmas oriented. The resurrection cookies are from Easter.
Right.
Italian love cake was around the feast of Mother Cabrini. So I think it's great to be able to talk about the faith and in a fun way while you're cooking, or you can relate your food back to a feast day and see the supernatural dimension of the meal.
Right.
But we're gonna make St. Nicholas Turkish meatballs for the feast of St. Nicholas, which is December 6th. Mm-hmm. And of course, he was a bishop in the Catholic Church, 4th century bishop, from Myra, which is a city of Lycia in the province of Asia Minor. We don't have a lot of details about his life, but we do know that his relationship with God is reflected by the admiration that Christians have for him throughout the world, both in the Eastern and the Western Church. It's said that after Our Lady, his image is depicted more by Christian artists. And I think that's largely due to the Christmas cards, probably.
Right. Wow.
But so he's someone we're familiar with, but we don't always know the facts about him. But since he is from a region which is now modern day Turkey, there's a tradition of having Turkish meatballs on his feast day, and these are fairly easy to make. If you have a food processor, you just take some stale bread, process that, make your own breadcrumbs that way. Add ground lamb and egg, and just blend that all together, and then parsley, garlic, and then some Eastern flavors, cumin, mint, allspice, salt, and pepper, and just blend all that. Then roll out the balls. This is something the kids can help with, too, if you're cooking as a family. And if you have a large skillet or even a wok or something like that, you can heat olive oil in there, and then you just cook the meatballs in batches. Occasionally turn them until they're browned on all sides, about 4 to 5 minutes per batch. You do want to make sure they're cooked through. Unlike Italian meatballs that continue to cook in the sauce, there's no sauce for these. So you want to make sure that they are done, and put them on a paper towel with a slotted spoon. And then you can serve them with rice pilaf, which I think show in the video. You could also put them in a pita with a little tzatziki sauce.
Oh, yeah.
And there you go. You have an easy meal that's tied into wonderful St. Nicholas.
Now, if someone doesn't have lamb, is there a meat that can be a substitute that still keeps it close in terms of flavor?
Yeah, sure. Not everybody likes lamb, so you could also use ground beef.
Okay.
Be easy.
Very good. Okay. Very good. Okay, so we've got two others. Now, these are going to be desserts, I believe, right?
Yes, we do have sort of a formal, if you will, bûche Noël, which is a Yule log, which is a custom from pagan days of having a log that is lit on fire during the winter solstice. So the shortest day of the year, this was for the pagans to realize that the sun was going to come back, the Feast of the Unconquerable Sun. And it said that when the Christians took over the calendar, they set Christmas Day right around that winter solstice time to show that Christ is the light of the world who overcomes the darkness. In the Middle Ages, the Yule log was lit usually on Christmas Eve, medieval Europe, and then kept burning all the way through until Twelfth Night for the Feast of the Epiphany.
Wow.
They might save a little piece of it to get the next fire burning the next year, as well as to be a reminder of the Christ child throughout the year, as they had that with them. But from France, we have this idea of a cake, a Christmas cake in the shape of a log, fairly easy to make. I'm going to give you two versions. One is a very simple cake that anyone could make and children could make, and there's no baking involved at all. So how's that for the reluctant cook?
That sounds like my kind of recipe.
Yeah, there's really no cooking actually in this one, Billy, but you just the key is a box of Nabisco famous chocolate wafers.
Oh, okay.
Super thin, just round like Oreo size, but no filling. And you whip up some whipped cream, and you can flavor it any way you'd like. For adults, they might like a little bit of Bailey's in there, or you can use a teaspoon of peppermint extract or a little more to taste. Some sugar to sweeten it. And so once you whip that up, you've got your whipped cream, and you just take one of the cookies and put some whipped cream on there, and then put the next one on like a sandwich. So you can put as much or as little filling as you want, but you want to completely cover the surface. And you just stack those up. You probably, once you get about 8, you want to put it onto the plate and prepare the plate by putting a slather of whipped cream down, and that's what the cookies will adhere to. So they will sit upright.
Very nice.
There. So, and then you just create a log shape, which basically imitates the box the cookies come in.
Right.
And then when you're done, you frost the whole thing with the whipped cream, and then you can drizzle it with chocolate ganache if you want. You can put some sliced almonds on there. And but before you do that, to create more of a log shape and create a little more interest, is to cut maybe the last third off or quarter, and put that about 3/4 of the way down the trunk that you have left as kind of a branch. That's sort of the traditional thing to do. And then you can take a fork, and after you've put some chocolate sauce on there or ganache, then you can make lines in it that sort of imitate the look of bark.
Right.
You could also use cocoa in there in the whipped cream mixture if you wanted more of a chocolate flavor. And then when you cut it, just cut it on an angle. And it's great. I mean, the key is it does need to sit overnight. And so this is a classic refrigerator cake, no baking involved, but those cookies, after they absorb the moisture of the whipped cream, it becomes like cake. It just cut right through it. And so it's an easy, and the kids can use sprinkles and decorate it. I think we kind of made a big mess in the video that's sort of fun, that you can get everyone involved in there, and it's not hard. Now, a little more professional, if you will, would be a formal Bûche Noël recipe that, again, isn't that hard. It's a classic sort of a sponge cake. And it's you use flour and cocoa powder, baking powder, salt, all the ingredients to make a regular sponge cake with a chocolate sponge. And you cook it in a sort of a jelly roll pan or like a cooking sheet that has sides to it.
Yeah, like those high, like 4-inch sides or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, a key for this one is to make sure you put some type of non-sticking spray, like Pam or something.
Right.
Then put parchment on the pan on top of that, and then spray that with nonstick, and then pour in your batter. You bake it. It doesn't take long. It's about 15 minutes. And then when it comes out, while it's still warm, this is key also, you have to put it onto either a piece of parchment paper that you can dust with powder, or you could use a tea towel. That's what we show in the video. And just empty the cake onto that. It should come right out because it's well greased. And then you just roll it up lengthwise from one end, just all the way down, with the paper or the towel in it. So you're just rolling it like you'd roll a blanket. And you're going to refrigerate that overnight, or at least 3 hours, but you could do it overnight. So again, you have time at Christmas to have fun with these desserts. Then it's going to remember that when you take it out, you're going to roll it out, frost it with hazelnut whipped cream mixture. We use Frangelico liqueur in there with heavy cream and confession of sugar and cocoa powder. You can also use finely chopped hazelnuts if you'd like, and that creates the filling. Then you roll it up, and it should roll without cracking because it remembers how you kept it. And you rolled it when it was still warm and put it right into the fridge. So it rolls up very nicely, and then you set it sort of up again on a plate. You can, again, put some whipped cream down to give it stability. And if you have any breaks or tears, don't worry, because you're just going to frost the whole thing with the whipped cream. And then we use the ganache on there and use the fork sort of stroking of the cake, so you have those nice grooves. And then when you get to the ends, or also you're going to do that same motion of cutting off the last quarter to create a branch, and you have a couple ends that you can do in a circular motion there to see. I think the video shows it. It's a little bit difficult maybe to explain if you've never seen one. And then this one you can decorate with. In the video we show marzipan mushrooms, which you just buy the marzipan and shape it into a mushroom shape. And we used a little bit of cocoa on there to give it a dark color for the caps of the mushroom. You can also make sugared cranberries and rosemary for decoration, and that's basically just sort of a sugar water. You put them in, the cranberries and the rosemary sprigs in there, and then you roll them in sugar later, so they have this crystallized sort of look. The sugar water allows that other sugar to adhere to it, and it really looks terrific in the end as decoration for your log, giving it more of that natural appearance. You can also use coconut, too, as snow, so everything is edible, but it looks like you're bringing the outdoors in, if you will.
And it seems like there's a number of kind of family benefits, and one is which you can make the flavors what you want it to be. I've heard of people using like espresso in it to kind of give it a coffee flavor. That people use jams sometimes, but it can be just traditional chocolate, and like you said, with these different nuts or coconuts and things. So that's one. Two is that kids can decorate it, and that's a lot of fun for them to make it look like a branch or to do whatever. And then the other is because you're prepping it the day before, you have less kind of kitchen commitments for the actual meal itself, and it saves you a little bit of time day of to spend with family and to catch up with people.
That's right, and it brings everyone together because I'm sure mom or dad, one of the adults, are going to have their hand into making the batter, because you have to separate the eggs and these kinds of things. But some of the older kids who like to eat, they learn to bake, right? That's how I learned to make cookies.
Right.
I wanted to make them. When you get to a certain age, you learn that if you want them, you can make them. It's not overly complicated, and it gives you confidence. And I think it's good for kids to realize they're an important part of the family. They have something to offer, and we need their help. They make the family run smoothly. And so it's great to work on a project together, and one that has a few moving pieces so that you can take some time over the holiday to create a festive dessert. And
the kids can be proud that they participated in it, because you don't want them, making the turkey or the ham or, the rib roast if that's what you're doing. This is an easy one.
I agree with you, Billy. I think that's something for more experienced hands, perhaps. But
exactly.
But the meatballs, everyone can roll a meatball.
That's true. That's right.
So that's an easy one, too, for December 6th. And then you get to tell the story about St. Nicholas, too. Because why are we eating lamb meatballs in December? It doesn't sound very Christmassy or St. Nicholasy. But when we learn more about him, we discover that it is a great connection with him.
Now, so what does Christmas dinner look like at the St. Mary's Rectory there?
Well, we usually are with our families. So we usually eat sort of a celebratory Christmas Eve meal, because we have multiple masses Christmas Eve. But normally on Christmas Day, we're done. Our last Mass is usually 1 o'clock. This year we're doing a 5 p.m. just because we're trying to accommodate everybody. So guys will usually go to their parents in the afternoon on Christmas. It's a time after a busy Advent and busy Christmas Day. It's nice to unwind with your family and share some of those family traditions. But Christmas Eve, we usually find a time which we can eat. This year, a little tricky because we've added a couple extra Masses. So we'll see how well we do with trying to eat as a Rectory family. Might be a little stretch since we have a couple Masses in the gym, which is 5 blocks away, and a couple Masses in the Basilica, too. Yeah,
you all, especially in kind of the tight quarters there of Old Town, you've got a lot of challenges to make it work, but it sounds like you're making it work, and it'll be still a joyful and peaceful celebration.
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect with the COVID. If we'll have people, we've had a regular group of kind of a full church really for all of our Masses every Sunday since May. So for Christmas, I'm not sure if we'll get that huge bump up of numbers or if people will choose to watch live streaming. But we've added enough Masses and we have some overflow options too. So we're prepared if we see a few more faces, which we would love to.
Very good. So, couple quick plugs. Father wrote the foreword to a book called Cooking with the Saints. It's a great book that we've promoted here at the diocese before, but that's something you might want to check out if you kind of like what you're hearing. And then also, if you want to see some of the recipes we talked about and see the videos that are the step-by-step guide to the recipes we've talked about, go to stmaryoldtown.org/fr-hathaway-cooks. So it's stmaryoldtown.org/fr-hathaway-cooks. You can also just Google search Father Hathaway Cooks, and you're going to find it. Either way. So, Father, thank you so much for sharing these with us, the stories, the background to some of these recipes, and some practical tips and tricks. We're very grateful for that.
Thanks, Billy. I hope you can use them with your own family.
I hope so, too.
If I don't see you, Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
God bless. Bye.
You're listening to Searching for More. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a review on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Also, make sure you follow the Diocese and the Arlington Catholic Herald on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And subscribe to our YouTube channels for regular videos that inspire, educate, and inform about the Catholic faith in our diocesan community.